Hey guys, it's Minish, and today I'm going to be going over one of the most important videos I have ever done. And yes, I say that every video. It's called clickbait. And going over manipulation is the main point of this video and how it's used against you and how to use it in your favor. So starting out, we're going to log into this hell game called Pokemmo. Now, just like real life, it has rich get richer systems, right? So when you are listing in GTL, remember you are always getting scammed. If you are not scamming, you are always getting scammed. People do it with no empathy, and it's in fact considered the late game method is scamming people on the GTL. Some people say it's not scamming. Some people like to use blanket terms such as GTL sniping or whatever. You are only making money off the misfortunes of others or people's inability to price. You are providing no service to the game, and you are scum, in my opinion, and I stand by that. But having been scammed many a times, having been victim, I also do it now because I am tired, and at least I give back, and that's my copium for how I deal with how I do things. But even now, I realized GTL sniping is kind of fucking stupid, right? Why would I why would I market manipulate this game when I can go to the actual stock market, make a couple $100 on my off day, and then I put like 10% of what I make from day trading into this game, which I use for 500 RP vouchers, and then I can continue to day trade, and I just put 10%, 10%. The time to effort ratio is a lot better if you guys want to learn actual stocks. But going to market manipulation, you never want to list. See, right here, I did this as an example. You never want to list your products as whole numbers. I know you can't tell, but you don't want to list 20 RP vouchers. 18 is a good number, right? 19 is a good number. Because if you list 19 RP vouchers at a time, it shows the illusion that they have been sold already, right? You don't want people to second guess it. You want to make a perceived fake demand for whatever you're trying to sell. So, for instance, if I am selling a Murkrow, right? During the event when Murkrows are a high value item for clearing Darkrai raids, right? People are looking to buy good Pokemon, like good Murkrows and whatever have you at level 100. So what you do, for instance, is you buy out every shiny Murkrow on the GTL and that are level 100, and you list one for an absurd price that doesn't have good IVs, that clearly is the worst one, and you list it for like, let's say 4.5 million, right? Then you buy out every other Murkrow, usually for about 2 million, and you fucking list all these Murkrows progressionally to make it seem more reasonable. You put a $2.5 million one, that's a $500,000 profit. You put a second one for 3 million, right? So people see that the 2.51 is going to be bought. Someone is going to look, they're going to see 4.5, say 2.5 mil, that's a steal in comparison to 4.5, and then they're going to buy it because they're lazy. They probably are putting money into this game, and for them, they just want to feel like they're getting a good price. Just like real life, it's not about whether or not it is a good price, it's whether they feel they want to get a good price. Now, after that 2.5 is purchased, you put the next one in, and the next one in, and the next one in, and you can keep doing that, and you create an ecosystem where people are going to keep buying your shiny Murkrows. I had 18 of them. I only have this one left, and I didn't bother to unlist it because I'm like, maybe if it sells, right? As for Aerodactyls, I do the same thing. I overprice some and I underprice others. Now, not all of them are going to sell. I think these 200,000 ones I was actually attempting to sell, but during the event, I sold almost all my Murkrows. I'm down to 2 pages. I had over 11 pages going, right? And then as for late game investments and your money getting held up, that is a big issue, right? So if I am investing and I tell my Twitch stream for whatever to invest into big turtle shells, I know they're going to go up in money. I know they're a high value cosmetic, right? For the giant turtle shells, and I tell everyone to buy them, and I do what is called the opposite of market manipulation. Like a cryptocurrency where they rug pull you and they say, hey, this, guys, buy these turtle shells, buy these turtle shells. Meanwhile, I'm holding on to like more than 60 of them at a time, and I'm telling people to buy these. They're going to go up in value. They're going up in value. No, I am actually telling them these turtle shells will go up in value because I am going to buy them and I am going to hold. That way I am benefiting my community. They're all like, wow, we bought in at 2 million and now they're at 3.5. Yes, they are. I also make sure that they will always be at 3.5 because I consider it a good investment, because I'm not looking to make money now. I'm looking to make money 5 years from now or 2 years from now, or depending on when they reach a price I'm comfortable with. Regardless, I know they are a good looking cosmetic and they will go up in value. And I have already seen them sell for 8 million during my playtime. So the idea of them being 3.5 right now is actually a decent price. And almost all these I invested at 2 million. So like, I'm already up pretty much 1.5 million on each of these, but then offloading them into the market, that is going to happen slowly over time. When I do decide to start selling, much like when I did my alpha starters, right? I invested at 200,000 and I slowly did one into the market every now and again. Some would sell for 13 million, some would sell for only 8, right? But the thing is, I was selling one at a time. That way, I didn't show how much of a stock hold I had when I was sitting on 6 boxes of alpha starters. And having that much of an investment of alpha starters, when the idea is at any point they can release a new alpha or a new starter. The second the Johto starters come out, the Kanto ones will drop in value. So I was completely fine with over my 10x profit on those, right? And then other things, right? You got to think about how much lasting is this going to have, right? So if I'm investing in, let's say, shiny particles, for instance, the Kanto and Friend shiny particle effects, like little things you have to take into effect. I consider this a failed investment because what I didn't anticipate is the shiny sound of this particle being so obnoxious it devalues the particle. I thought the cosmetic nature of it was really good, but I cannot use this particle because every time it's sent out, I think I have a shiny. Most people disable the shiny animation for that reason, right? So these, I don't think they're going to ever go up in value as much as I thought they would. I still consider them a failed investment. I invested in at like 1.9 for most of them, and I think to this day they're at roughly like 2.8. Yeah, not even 2. They're at 2 million again. Like this is a failed, and you're going to have these, right? And very well known, what a lot of you guys will know is you'll know about the Pumpkin Kid Batil. Now, that was a mistake, right? I saw one at 80 million and the rest were at 120 million. And I said, man, that's such a good deal. Why is it so underpriced? And I need to take advantage of this. And I bought it. Now, a couple things that seller did right. One, it was listed less than a couple hours, meaning the fact that a lot of people don't have 80 million liquid, it might have just not been seen. So whoever sees that has that FOMO response where, wow, this is $40 million less than the last person. This is a good purchase, right? And they did so, right? Additionally, you want to prey on what the perceived value of the actual Pumpkin King particle is. So when I resold mine for 86 million, what I had to do is I had to wait until every other particle mon of that was sold. Now that every other one had been sold, I had to list and then relist, right? Hoping to have somebody do the same thing I did. And I got lucky and I managed to flip it for 6 million, right? But the thing is, it's a very reasonable thing to happen, and you need to understand what your market is. Sometimes the market is fake, sometimes it's not, but being able to list and manipulate is a large part of it. A big money maker for me back when I was a newer player was the shiny Tentacruel market. Shiny Tentacruel used to be the least valued shinies. Almost everyone gets them back in the day when Hoenn, Battle Frontier, the PC, right near that area, for those who know, was the number one experience grinding place. So shiny tentas were around the clock getting listed. There was no prismatic pearls to artificially increase their value at the time. They just kept getting listed. So how the value of the Tentacruels comes from their ability to be competitive and their ability to breed, right? Like, so every single Tenta with an IV roughly was 1.4 million at the time. But the special attack IV was only 1 million because for what it was breeding with for the Ome stars, right? And how you breed into it. No, it was Kabuto's for Kabuto, right? Kabuto doesn't use special attack primarily, right? It's mostly a physical attacker for how it sweeps and how it plays. So the special attack was devalued off the shiny Tenta because the only people who are buying the shiny Tentas, the male ones, for breeding purposes, were trying to get the attack, defense, speed, right? They were corresponding values. But you notice for special attack, they stayed at 1 million stagnant because nobody was buying them for their intended reason. So what I started doing over the course of a couple months, and I had the money to do this, as always, it's a rich get richer system where you have to have money to make these manipulations. For instance, if I was to resell a pumpkin particle and make that exact scenario I described earlier, I would have to buy out every single cheap pumpkin particle that gets listed, hold on it, assume that risk, have potentially 400 million just sitting in my inventory while I make a creative price to sell my lowest one, which is the actual target for the consumer, right? So what I did is I did that same thing just on a smaller level where I kept buying out every special attack Tenta. And when I bought out every special attack Tenta, I would list for the 1.4, which is the cheapest Tenta that isn't special attack. And it's very easy to see because when you look up shiny Tenta by price, you'll see male Tentas, the cheapest ones were always the special attack. They're always the special attack, and they'd be 400,000 or 200,000 less than every other Tenta that exists. So I developed this strategy of buying every single one for a couple of months. And then I would relist the shiny Tentas at the 1.4 million mark. So I was getting, one, advantage of the people who just wanted to get the Tentacruels to breed, and two, the people that had no idea what the Tenta market was, and they didn't understand that the value of the male Tenta came not necessarily from the ability to be rebred, but from the people who wanted to make comp shinies, right? And then I held and I held and I held, and I made a lot of money. And then the prismatic pearls came out, and then I made even more money because I was sitting on 2.5 boxes of shiny Tentacruel, which I all turned into poles. I turned into pearls and got huge dividends on. Now, other things to consider. The game's changes, right? I am sitting on a bazillion netballs, right? And the main reason of me doing this video is because a lot of people get taken advantage of, and a lot of you guys have had the free-to-play nerfs, such as the Ditto nerf, such as the string nerf, such as like the overall gym rerun nerf because of the way they change strings. The way you make money in this game is under attack and has been for quite a while, especially with the reduced fossils, the reduced payday pickups. It's getting pretty rough out here for the free-to-play players, and I'm just trying to show you guys how much, like, if you are a whale, this is the proper way to take advantage of the free-to-play players because the game isn't fucking them enough, in my opinion. You know, let's get them so they can quit this game and go outside at this point. But anyway, net balls, right? I am sitting on 3.5K, and then my Ditto catching alt has over 12K. Not a smart move. Do not do that, because remember, at any point the game can decide, hey, these free-to-play players are making too much money off the Ditto market. We can completely restructure the way these are, and you can only get 675, meaning I lose half my money on each net ball purchased, meaning I'm out millions just from having purchased balls. So yeah, it is what it is. Also, I'm a little guilty. I'm not too innocent, where the last time they did this nerf that affected me, for those who don't know, how they solved the dusk ball issue is they increased the price of dusk balls, right? They increased it. That's how they dealt with the Ditto catching nerf the last time, right? And then they lower the catch rate, and they do all these little things. I did not expect them to outright rework the way net balls have to the point of being useless. I thought they'd always maintain some form of use, and I thought the fairest way they would do it would be just lowering or raising the price of the net balls, or at worst, lowering the catch rate of the net balls is something I perceived maybe to 3.0. But no, they just outright change the way it works. I still have some value here. Do I have $12 million worth of value? Absolutely not. But I still have some value here, so we'll get what we can get during catch events. And I just kind of have an infinite supply of net balls for the rest of my career. Now, transitioning back and to the main point of this video, when you are listing, right, you need to know your opportunity cost. If I am listing a RP voucher for about 19 of these, the listing fee, according to the math in my head, should be around 400,000 and some change, maybe close to 500,000. So I'm losing about 500,000 for these total listings. And remember, the trade chat is a bunch of degenerates, and they like to scam you. And they aren't most often going to give you the GTL price. Even for bulk orders, they're going to give you a little bit under it. And then negotiating the effort of individually selling them, is that worth it for you? Is that time investment worth for you? It depends on the person completely, right? So what you should always do is what you like. There is no always do. That's a fucking shitty way to phrase it. But remember, if you do list, you do lose money, and there are situations where it is better to sell. For instance, if you are trying to sell, like me, who got my dream cosmetic recently, if you're trying to get a jack-o'-lantern, it is much more advisable for the person who is doing the one sell purchase to advertise in trade chat. That is almost always the better option, right? I got this one for 680 million. Good example of the money and the way it fluctuates, right? But if I am selling, for instance, RP vouchers, and there isn't really a guy who I have who wants like 100 at a time, or if you are selling 100 time, it's not worth. You'll see a lot of these with like fossil sellers. They sell to people more so than the GTL. That is a very viable option, right? Explore your market. Repeat customers are a thing. Fostering good friendships and good buyer-seller relationships is absolutely a thing. But just remember, if you're going to take anything from this video, is keep all the practices I and others are doing to you in mind, because if you don't understand these practices, they will be used against you, right? So remember, if something is too good to be true, most likely it is. And they have put some safeties in place that I think are good for the game, such as you can't fake the goodie bags, and there's a lot of scams going around. They do a good job reducing that. I think that is one of the good things Pokemmo does for its community members. But when you see something that is good to be true, take the couple seconds to think about it, right? If it's a shiny Eevee and you are setting your settings correctly, like, be smart about it, right? So like if there are alpha Pokemon getting spawned, for instance, this is something everyone should also be doing that I should cover. If there are alpha Pokemon getting spawned, for instance, right? And we'll say at the time these are alpha Eevees. This is something I used to do. So you would like do, for instance, field, you would look for a 0 defense and a 31 attack, right? So you could just make this one 0, and then you make this one 31, and then you set this setting to gender male, right? And then you set the alpha yes, right? Here is a good, cheap way to get EV breeders, because a lot of people liked having the alpha breeders, right? And then you get one of these, and then all you have to do is get a 31 attack with a lonely nature ditto, right? That are usually listed for derp cheap. Here you see a Flareon, a Leafeon, 0 right here. These would have been prime breeders. I would have bred them. The cost would have been about 20K a piece to guarantee whichever IV or nature with the Everstone, and I would immediately flip these for about 300,000 a piece, very consistently. If I want to take them into Vaporeons and train them to level 100 myself, I'm looking at 500,000, and that's just passive XP while I shiny hunt. But little things, guys, you need to find your own market strategy. I know a lot of people talk about it. I know Petrowski's talked about it. This is how you are going to make your money. You cannot catch dittos the way you catch. You cannot like farm half the way. And for me, berry farming is a fate worse than death. So this is how you're going to have to learn to play eventually. And I hope this helps some of you guys get in on the ground level. Make sure you're sniping a certain way. It's always better to have a scope with parameters set, so that way while I'm refreshing, and by the way, how you refresh these days is you just use the space bar. You put your settings right there and you put the space bar, and then while using the space bar, you can be over the buy, and then you can immediately click if you see something that matches your parameters. So like I could set my max price limit to like 47K, right? One more 0, and then I'm going to see a reduced. So if there's nothing there, I would just be doing this, and then I would buy this, and then easy fucking day, right? That's something you should be doing with alpha spawn. That is a good money making strategy. I hope this is helpful to some of you. I might not release this. I'll see how it looks in post, but I appreciate all of you guys, and peace.